I'm gonna get back to that story, Sonny. Just, just you listen to Boomer Great One. He's gonna tell you about how it was back in the olden days, back before fire, back when we walked uphill for everything. In fact, we didn't even have a concept of downhill because there was no downhill. Everything was uphill. We thought that was normal. We didn't even have a word for it because there was no alternative. It was uphill all the time. You just need to reach down and grab yourselves by your bootstraps and pull yourselves up, Sonny. Because when I was your age, I bought a house for $25,000. And I made that money on my paper route and bussing tables at the local cafe. And if I could do it, you can do it too. You just need to reach down and pull yourself up and just buckle up there, buckaroo. God, I hate boomers.
So, as you know, me and Vlad Elkins of the Elkins Accounting Hour, which you should all tune into, in a weird sense, we find ourselves not necessarily being pro IRS, but sympathetic to the IRS, because if you did not know, the IRS has been underfunded for quite some time. And our point wasn't an issue of we agree with tax policy or the objectives that Congress has given the IRS. We don't like the tax rates as it is now. We don't like the tax system. That's our main complaint. But we don't envy the actual working people at the IRS whose job it is to enforce and affect the tax code, right? If you look, I don't know how many pages the tax code is now. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And when you throw in the underfunding, the archaic computer systems, you can look this all up later. I think they're using 1980s computer systems and technology. You don't envy these people. You don't envy the poor IRS, not even agents, the customer service rep. They don't understand the whole shit. They have no clue. And they're having trouble finding people to work over at the IRS, let alone enough time for training. And we even have an IRS agent in the field who anonymously gives us some inside baseball, says, yeah, there's this thing going on and that thing. It's nothing saucy or political. It's not managerial politics, but it's just we can't enforce a 60,000 page tax code on the people, let alone process all the returns, handle all the requests, handle all the amendments people make, changes, prosecute tax evaders or tax fraud and all this other stuff. And Chad and I always talk about like, wow, when does sales tax be easier? Wouldn't it just be nice to have a sales tax? And since we just finished tax season, you talk to Chad, but I know other people do people's taxes. And I got no way of measuring it, but it seems to me that as time has gone on, people have had an increasingly difficult time filing their taxes. And you could argue, yes, the tax code has gotten more complex, but we're not talking people with 4 offshore bank accounts and 3 LLCs owned by a trust or any kind of elaborate bullshit like that. We're talking about people who got one W-2, maybe a 1098, and they just can't fucking file on time. They're willing to pay Chad. One, they're late. They contact him April 13th. They say, hey, can you do my taxes? He says, yeah, $800, which by the way is not highway robbery. It's very expensive though. It's a Japanese refusal. It's a stabbing. And they pay for it because, well, one, young people are dumb with money and you're lazy, you don't want to do it. You know what? The world of YouTube and the internet is up there now where you can look up how to do pretty much anything and you still pay the guy $800 to do taxes that you should have done months ago. And then it dawned on me, well, the IRS, yeah, okay, we got to deal with it in the tax. It's not even the IRS, it's the tax code. You got this tax code And largely it is a product of leftist socialist democrat politics. You hate rich people, you hate wealthy people, you hate people who make a lot of money. And so you got to punish them. I've talked about how, well, why don't you just make it a sales tax for everybody the same rate, make tax collection very easy when you end this nightmare, and then you could just get more welfare on the paying outside. So you kind of more or less have the same thing. People ignore that anyway. But the whole point is the complexity of the tax code is largely one of leftist doing, where you want to have wealthy people, richer people pay a higher percentage of their income than poor people. That's basically it. And dare I say, there's an element of spite, hatred, and envy, and you want to punish rich people for daring to work more than you do. They all inherited it. No, they all didn't. I understand. Then do a wealth tax, do an estate tax, knock it off with this income tax bullshit. Anyway, it then dawned on me, they're already having trouble finding enough employees for the IRS, for the Treasury Department, and all this other stuff. All these corporations, all these employers are having trouble finding staff. And you're right, pay more and give training and not require us to have college degrees. I agree with you there. But in the IRS in particular and affecting the tax code, it made a connection with the teacher shortage where I'm like, Gen Z is not even going to be able to support their socialist system. Because let's be very clear, the tax code is an arm, if not, it's the ultimate epitome and it is the main enforcement arm of socialism. Take money from wealthy, give it to poor. That's what it is. Well, you've made it so damn complicated. Where are you going to find the people to enforce it? See what I'm saying? And this isn't to pick on Gen Z. This is, I really should say younger, because right now it's millennials. I would also argue Gen X is also partly culpable in this as well. But in general, as Americans become more leftist and ultimately more lazy, and you don't want to do no fucking work, you don't want to do no fucking jobs because it should just be free everything. You do know that even if you get a socialist system, you still need to run it. You still need to make it function. Like the Soviets, the Bolsheviks didn't just come in 1917. Socialism, there was a whole civil war and all that, but let's just fast forward. Socialism, there's Lenin, an elitist dick, by the way. He was rich. Came from daddy's money, sucking off his dad's teeth. So it was very sad. He was bald and had a mustache. Oh my God, free shit. Free shit. And then no one worked. It wasn't just like that. If you look at the Soviet Union, in one way, it's quite admirable that with their hands tied behind their back with communism and socialism, they were able to produce some impressive shit. The fighter planes, the space race, Stalin's modernization programs, just like with killing people in peacetime. You looked at it like, well, people still had to work. A lot of times you'd work for free. You look in the camps or the gulag. There still had to develop the MiG. Just take an old MiG like the MiG-15. That took work. That took intelligence. There wasn't like the Russians just went, that's it, free shit. The robots are making everything. Now we just get to live in a socialist utopia. So the Russians, they had to, with the Soviet Empire, all the Soviet republics, all those people had to work to maintain the system. There were farmers or transport. Everyone had to work. But what I'm getting the impression with participation trophies and victimhood politics and, everyone has a touch of this mental disorder or another and nobody can work. And we all need to stay in college until we're 30-7. None of you have the work ethic to work. I understand corporate America in a very Josh Flukian way. They're scum, not fair employment practices, lie flat until they pay you a living wage. I get that. I get all that. But if you can't staff going forward, if you can't staff the IRS, which is the enforcement arm of the ultimate socialist policy, which is income transfer, how the fuck do you think you're going to run a socialist economy? How do you think you're going to get socialism to work? As I mentioned before, another thing is I think nationwide there's a teacher shortage. I know in Minnesota there is, but nationwide, Minnesota, they're so desperate they're going to hire Filipino immigrants to teach because I guess Americans are too lazy to teach. You're too fucking lazy to teach? You what? You never leave school. What do you mean teaching is too hard? You start off as a 5-year-old pants shitting kid. You turn out to be a 22-year-old college graduate with your degree in education, which isn't a real education. By the way, your entire adult life, you get summers off. Your entire life, you've not one teacher. I know I'm being facetious, but not one teacher, typical teacher, I mean. Think about that. 5 years old, well, 0 to 4, you got summers off. You're not in school. 5 through 22, you got summers off. And then you're a teacher. You never work summers. It's not a rigorous study. It's not, unless you went into like becoming a math teacher or a science teacher or a trades teacher or something like that, where you actually had to know something type to, oh my God, the socialisms. Can I suck Marx's dick? I hate white men too. They're straight though. It's not exactly a rigorous academic field. You got to go get a licensure. That might be a little bit of a hurdle. All right, fine. But there's not enough people signing up for teaching? Holy laziness, Batman. And speak of another critical arm of a socialist economy. All right, so the tax code enforced by the IRS or state tax agencies as well. Is the state versions of the IRS? They need staff too. The ultimate goal and arm of socialism, and that is wealth transfer, income transfer. They can't even find enough people to staff that. But I would argue a very close second critical arm or a leg of the table of socialism is indoctrination, and that's your schools, and that's what you mostly do. Shut the fuck up. You don't teach these kids anything except feeling sorry for themselves. Shut the fuck up. You can't find people to indoctrinate the future children of the world. Now, inevitably, yeah, if in socialism, communism, whatever, there's no private property, therefore you technically not paid a wage. Everything is free, and so nobody works because why should I go become a surgeon if you're not going to pay me more? I could just sweep floors and all that. And then oh my God, well, who are these guys with the guns telling me to hammer out wheels and tires? I didn't want to become a wheel manufacturer. Too fucking bad. You gave up your freedom for free shit. Free. But right now, as we transition from a quasi-capitalist, not really capitalist anymore, quasi-capitalist, soft socialist economy to harder, more socialist, if not outright communist down the road, how are you going to maintain even a socialist economy? How are you going to maintain a communist economy or a communist light economy? How? You guys can't even go be teachers. Oh, and you can't pay off your student loans. And there you see everyone's guilty of that. Gen X is the pluralistic holder. They're the largest holder of student loan debt, and they want to bail. You can't pay your student loans back on time. Car payments, was it hang on, someone said it was 1 in 3. I highly doubt that. Percent of car loans delinquent. Federal Reserve, they said, oh, that's credit card. 7.7. I thought it was higher than that. That's 2020, 13-year high. Here it is. Subprime borrowers, 11.72. My mistake. It's only 7.7, about 8% of all loans. That's still not good. 1 in 12, 1 in 11. You're not paying back your credit cards or your car loans. You think you're going to make a socialist economy work? What is it? Everyone just goes and be like people in Seattle. You just go sit in a tent and you do pot. Who's going to make the drugs? Who's going to make your pot? Really? What? I mean, inevitably all socialist systems fail, but man, we're gonna have like a Venezuelan type of crash. At least the Soviets gave it a shot, you know? They kept it run. They gave the US a good run for their money. They supported a bunch of vassal states and waged wars and proxy wars across the globe. It was quite impressive what they did. We're not going to have, at least the Russians worked. We're not going to have that. We're going to have a bunch of emo kids faking their mental illness. There's another thing. Oh, I got a mentally ill. Oh my God, I'm sad. I need drugs. What? You're not going to be sad or needing drugs for long because there won't be no drugs to take. Do you know what it takes to keep Pfizer running? You know, all the chemistry and neurology and the lab tests and the equipment that goes into making a pill of Ritalin or what, Zadderall, whatever the hell it is, Xanax. I don't know. I don't know what candy you all popping nowadays. they they're paying, depending on where you go, $15 to $20 an hour with no experience at fast food restaurants, and you're not going to pick up on that. You're not going to take that. Well, good luck, because I don't know. That's flipping burgers. I got to imagine enforcing and effecting a 60,000 page tax code is going to be a little bit more difficult. I got to imagine even going to school to be a teacher, you still got to show up to school on time. You still got to take your courses and, fakeably pass them. You gotta go to training, you punctuality. People ain't showing up on time if at all. And you think you're gonna keep the machines of socialism running? It is going to be hilarious watching how quick this shit goes down if you guys get your socialist dream. It'll be hilarious. It's gonna be great. Oh. Now, but the capitalist system is so much more unfair. Let me know when we have a capitalist system, which we don't. Shh, go look it up on the YouTubes and the Googles. But Mr. Celery, Gen Z is conservative. No, they're not. No, they're not. That whole Gen Z is good. The millennials were going to save us. They're going to say, hey, okay, Gen X was going to save us. They're going to say, hey, they saw their parents get divorced. And now they're going to go back to traditionalism. Nope, we got divorced at the same amount. Don't worry, the millennials are going to, they're conservative. Holy suck Obama's dick, Batman. Were the millennials not conservative? Probably still aren't conservative to this day because they just can't be wrong. And Gen Z, I haven't seen any polling. Well, actually, I did see some polling in the Trump Biden election. There was a little bit there. You're surprised young people vote for free shit. But Gen Z is not conservative. They're maybe more apathetic. They may not show up to vote, Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. But they are not gun-toting conservatives. They're all crying with the tears, feeling their innie navel. Oh my God, I can't bear it's so sad. It's no different than the millennials or the Gen Xers. Like, oh man, I'm so sad and moody. Let's listen to Kurt Cocaine. Let's all move to Seattle where it's gloomy and dark. And we'll participate in self-deletion parties. Yay. Nobody young was conservative. No one that young is that smart. Is that really Republican? Yes, it is. I'm not saying you're a genius, but you're definitely smarter than the average dipshit Democrat 21-year-old. Why can't we print off more money? Chad, can I pay you $800 to file my W-2 form? I need to do pot, man. Is what calls me down for my mental illness. All this like, oh, shut the fuck up. I can't go to work because I have anxiety, but I can play video games really good. Cody Stokes, 10 generous dollars. Hey, man, I know this is kind of off topic, but I've been trying to catch you while you're live. Do you think the spending a few grand on matchmaking service will lead to finding an actual... No. Cody, the only way I could see it happening is if you are like a surgeon, like $1,000, you're an hour of your time. you could go make $1,000 or $2,000. So if you are a very highly compensated individual, you don't have the time to be going to a bar or a nightclub. It's a tremendous waste of your time. So in that instance, like you're a corporate executive, you don't have the time. Uh, yes, then it might be worth your while. But if you're the average guy or even a very wealthy guy, no, man. You see the cute girl at the office? I'm sorry. Whoa, whoa. Not the office. Don't ask a cute girl out at the office. I'm sorry. That will get you fired. I I was wondering what you women were thinking with that one. Oh my God, these employed men are asking us out. Oh, horrible. Um, if you're a regular rank and file guy, even a upper middle income guy, it's not worth your time, man. You see a cute girl at the grocery store. You see a cute girl there. You see a cute girl here, whatever. You say, hey, you single? And ask them out. That's it. It's save your money, save the time. What, you think these girls are paying thousands of dollars for a matchmaking service? Again, if you're super elite, super wealthy, and you are compensated way too highly for an hour of your time, fine, go ahead and do it. But for any God, if you're making a quarter million or less, if you're making a quarter million, even then, was it $125 an hour? Yeah, that's 10 hours of your time. Do you know how many girls you could ask out, man? 8 hours of your time. You can ask out a lot of girls in 8 hours. Alex Patino, a truck driving Latino agent in the field, $5. The only reason the Soviets advanced after World War I in the 50s is because they took lots of German intellectuals and put them to work, not voluntarily. Yeah, well, they also did that with their own population. And also, if they were coming from a feudal society, a lot of the Russians were caught up in the labor revolution. It's not that a lack of work ethic. I think that, go to 1960. Well, there was World War I going on. Ignore World War I. Go to 1960 Russia. 1960 Russia. Compare the average Russian then to the average young person today in America in 2024. Not the same people. Not the same people. Russians weren't like, oh my God, I think I have social anxiety disorder. I'm having a panic attack. I have PTSD. They canceled She-Hulk. I think there was a normal human work ethic and a lot of hope. Hey, you're not under the czar anymore. Cool. We'll make it all better. Especially the guy with the mustache. He's coming. Don't worry about him. So I think there was at least a percent of the population that had a work ethic until it was beaten out of them by the Soviet Empire. But even then, maybe not everything is economics. I think the Americans and the Soviets just like competing with each other. Oh, they're doing some cool fucking shit over there. Oh well, watch this. Bam! SR-71 Blackbird. Fuck you. Take your MiG-25 Foxbat. Let's see you catch up with us. They're like, damn, that's a pretty cool shit. All right, what do we got? Oh, shit, we ran out of money? Oh, 1991 is it already? It's that time, huh? Oh, crap. All right, we're friends now until we're not. Alex Petito, a truck driver Latino agent in the field again for $5. Also, the campaign of not having children is finally paying dividends, that there's a dwindling number of children for indoctrination. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't, the same percent of the population, regardless of the nominal population, is still going to be indoctrinated. It's still going to be indoctrinated. Your average black dude, Pedro for president, $6 Canadian. You're going to be the only man left whose authenticity matches the word he preaches. Home math gets engaged 3 months after fame in Human revealed he's married. We got to get well. Maybe they had a shotgun wedding. Not that he would impregnate her. Maybe they got. I still don't find they got married. I'm not fully. I understand your concerns, and I would agree with them. I just wait till they get divorced. Can't we have something righteous and hopeful for a change? Can't we just hope Holmath found this great gal and she's sucking his dick with jovial compliance? Like she's like, oh, can't two people be in love and like each other? It's going to work out. Alex Bogey, $2. Can you give an estimate for when the crash happened? No, I can't. You can pretty well say, oh, we're going to boom or we're going to bust. The general direction is going to go this way. When that happens, that's the hard part. You can have all the fuel drums in the world, but what spark's going to cause it to blow up? That's the hard part. You can have a perfect overhang of snow in the mountains. Which snowflake is going to cause the avalanche? Good luck figuring that out. Can't give you a time or an estimate. Your average black dude again for 14 Canadian. Men who got their financial, physical, mental to its peak and squander it for a 304 who pops SSRIs like Tic Tacs due to her past of becoming a community CVM vessel, racking up more mileage than an '03 Honda. Yeah, but do we know that about his? Unless you're not speaking of his wife or fiance or whatever she is now. Yeah, that's. I don't think that's happening. I think the red pill and the internet has done its job. Kind of like we became aware that smoking's bad for you. Men are very aware that marriage is bad for you. I'm not joking. Exact parallel. Now, a lot of that anti-smoking stuff was government and nonprofit motivated. Here, this is just common sense and men with the previous experiences saying, "Hey, this isn't. You don't want to do this," and then you see it. You see your buddy get divorced. You see your buddy get taken for half or whatever. You see the celebrities, with the payouts and all that. That's like looking at the picture of lung cancer on the cigarette pack. So I think men are. If you're going physical, financial, and mental to its peak, I don't think they're squandering it. I think most men are too smart, too intelligent. And we're here. They got the internet. They got us. Much to the chagrin of women who hate our guts. I'm sorry, Lee. You could have just treated men nicer. Just saying. Alex Bogey, $5. Well, the Soviet Union did not have tax collection service. They nationalized industry using the Red Guards early, and farms 12 years later was messy. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, they didn't just throw no switch and switched over. There was at least one famine that wasn't caused necessarily by communism per se. It was that they were switching over, and you messed with the system. Even when the Soviet Union collapsed and they're converting to capitalism, there is at least a 5 years transformation period, more like 10, before things got restructured and reorganized, and you built a new system and put it in place. So yeah, you can't just switch over like that. And by God, I mean, try and think of that. What, really? All the young people are just you're gonna wake up and like, oh, hey, we gotta reprogram this, we gotta reinfrastructurize that, or do you just think someone else is gonna do it? I want to see what Fauci's gonna do if he ever got his socialist utopia. He'd lose weight, I'll tell you that. We're all going on a diet. We're all gonna be sexy thin. David Love, 5 British pounds. How much of the problems we see today is because of weaker selection pressures for mates, allowing for the mentally ill and physically weakness? How much of problems we see is because weaker selection for mates? No, women women still can abort a child at any time. In other words, I think women are still choosing for the physically strongest men that they can sleep with, or the best men, however you want to define it. It's the lack of dads. It's government financing. I would think there's even a little bit of environmental factors in there, like maybe I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but maybe plastics and seed oils and things like that. Women's birth control in the water. I'm not saying that's the main thing. It's a factor. I'd say a small factor, something that's possible, plausible. But I'd say it's more social. You don't have dads, you don't have fathers. That's why I got a course called The Dad You Never Had, because we raise a country of boys who are nothing but a bunch of fucking pussies. Because the dads nowadays are a bunch of fucking pussies. And shock, if your dad isn't around, you're raised by a mom and a bunch of school teachers who are also women. And the first father figure you ever run into is maybe your 6th or 7th grade middle school teacher. Yeah, you're mentally ill and physically weak. And you're not mentally or physically weak. That's what happens when you raise boys like little girls. Maybe you develop an actual mental illness down the road, but that would be the normal human reaction, body mental reaction to being treated like a little girl and being raised in such a skewed environment. Christoph and on $2. My bet the wheels come off when Russia wins. Oh, looks like Russia's making a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Craig B. Huff, Hungarian, 2000. Anyone that thinks socialism is a good idea, visit any former satellite state of the USSR. Look at how disadvantaged their economy, health, aspiration outcomes are. Destruction of human potential. And that's what, 30, 40 years after the whole thing. Go look at East Germany, West Germany. No one knows about that. Go look at North Korea, South Korea. Go look at post Mao Zedong China and pre Mao. I'm sorry, post Deng Xiaoping China and pre Deng Xiaoping China. Go look at the Cayman Islands and Bermuda versus Cuba. Go look at I'm trying to think, Venezuela and probably literally any country around them right now. Ant Clogs, $2. It's going to be great. Neat for life. Iani Kara, $2. Is common law better than government marriage? Oh God, I don't know. That's a question for a lawyer. And I can tell you this, it's going to depend on state. I think, again, not a lawyer, but if you're married, whether it's through common law because you live together or you actually went through the process and got a marriage license, I think you're treated the exact same. So I don't think it's any better or worse. But there might be states that have a different treatment of people who got married common law versus an actual official license. But none of you boys should be getting, none of you, none. You should, you're going to have a long-term relationship. You can have a committed woman. Do not get married. Right. David Love, £5 Love the show, mate. By the way, communism is on the rise in the UK. Yeah, no shit. With the People's Party winning a seat recently. Pray for me, boys. Yeah, well, isn't Scotland basically your armpit? It's of the United Kingdom, Scotland is the biggest socialist pussies. That's like your California. Except maybe people get in fights there. No, it's happening. The West has had its day. We made way too much money, and then we borrowed too much money, and we printed too much money, and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" Our problems went from, "Boy, we better chisel out a farm from this dusty earth here. We better build a dam in the middle of the desert so we can build a population of 2 million." It went, "Oh, we better fight the Nazis and fight the communists. We better invent electricity and antibiotics and shit." To someone on the internet was verbally abused me. I think I'm trans today. Whatever gets me the most attention. Yeah, it's but that's all part of the cycle, man. It's the circle of life. All empires come and go. Just look, we got to enjoy it. I enjoyed the 80s and the 90s. I hope you did too. I'm having a good time now. Electricity's still on. Got some great food. We get to do this internet super chat thing. We're not insane. We know exactly what's happening. We don't fake one of many things just so we can avoid work and have purpose and meaning in life, whether that's our sex, our sexual preference, mental illness. We consequently have a much more enjoyable life because we're not faking mental illness or lying about us being not straight or a pansexual or quadsexual today. It's not that booze and drugs is the only thing we have in life. We got to treat our sad, we're working normal people. I dare I say it, you, me, and a couple other people in my audience may have even had our peen touched by a woman, no less. Maybe even an attractive one. But look at the socialists are never happy. They're never happy. Special Ed Doc, 20 generous dollars. Hi, everybody. Reunification psychologist literally told reunification psychologist. What the hell is that? Literally told me, you talk like a professor. Stop using professor words. Use heart word. Spoiler, kid still hates me. Oh, okay. Like reunifying with reunifying with your kid, I think is what you mean. Okay. One, psychologists don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If they did, the mental health in this country would be improving, not getting worse. Right? Two, please go look at the verification or the veracity studies where they're trying to repeat a bunch of psychological studies and they're not being able to repeat it, which means those studies are bullshit. This isn't to say that mental illness doesn't exist and there aren't things that are absolutely diagnosable, but dude, therapists are worse than economists, and economists are shit. Therapists are not fixing nothing. Oh, and the American Psychological Association also thinks male behavior is toxic. Go look it up. Your average black dude, 7 Canadian. If you were in your 20s in today's time, how would you go about convincing a girl to be your companion and enjoy life with each other till death? I would not be convinced. You can't convince that. Go watch the previous video there, average black dude. It's kind of the same thing. I can't convince a girl. She either wants, she's not a robot. She's not a Rubik's Cube to figure out. And then, oh, that's how I get all the colors on the same side. And now she touches peen joyously. Be yourself. Excel in everything you want in life. Do your thing. Ask girls out along the way. And hopefully there's a girl that likes what you've done, likes you, and you won't need to convince her. She'll be all on board. Then the question, I've had girls who want to be all on board, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, it sounds great on paper, but some of them are stalkers, some of them are crazy. You're like, no, wait, I gotta like you too. But if I would not try to convince. Now in my 20s, I did try to convince. But the girls I would, especially in college, I had just a tremendous senior semester of dating. It wasn't until I started teaching dance classes was there less tooth pulling. When I had nothing going on for me, because I was a 21, 22-year-old kid with a shit Ford Escort, that was the tooth pulling. That was trying to convince. Girls didn't want a skinny, twiggy, 122-pound, 21-year-old kid. They didn't want that. Surprise. When I started teaching dance classes and girls were in my courses and all that, then they wanted me. There wasn't a lot that it was voluntary. Now, this wasn't, they're going to go to the mat for me and cover my six with a machine gun, but there was a lot less convincing they had to go. Like the dates I went on in college were painful. Girl would just sit there. The dates I went on post dancing and all that, well, obviously I'd take them dancing, so it was fun, and they were a little bit more talkative. Go to jazz clubs. It was enjoyable, more enjoyable than, but it's still sometimes. But yeah, she's got to be on board with you. And if at any point in time you're like, but I have quality, it's over. She's either voluntarily going out with you or not. Save yourself a lot of time not worrying about what women want and just do your thing. And if a girl comes along, cool. Yeah, also the girl's you got to give her time to get to know you. So you go on a date and da. But God, for the love of God, just be yourself and like, yeah, here's who I am. Be bluntly honest and just sift through that shit quickly because you don't have time to be like, oh yeah, let's go on a fourth date where I take you out and you just blah, 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 blah. So what do you think about Tay-Tay? Check, please. Just mine. Thank you. Alex Bogey, $5. Strangely enough, Siberia is becoming rich from all the munitions factories, soldier pay, and life insurance for widows. Truckers are in short supply. Yeah, they got munition raw materials out there too. Iani Kara, $5. Girl wants to get married in New York State, doesn't recognize common law. Also, will pension be around in 2044? Just hired as fireman in Delaware. Oh shit, I don't know, man. It depends on the finances of that pension, which you can look up, by the way. So look up the Wilmington, Delaware firefighters pension and find out how well financed, what percent funded it is. So you'll get like a little financial report and it'll explain how well funded it is. So, but it's anyone's guess what the condition would be in 2044. Girl wants to get married in New York State, doesn't recognize common law. No. Okay, you don't get married. The girls should want to, okay, and now keep in mind, I'm talking very idealistic bullshit here, all right? Because there's still a carryover in traditional thought where, well, if he doesn't commit in the ring and my grandma, yeah, that horse shit's over now, all right? That's for a time long gone. So she's going to want to get married because that's what she's been told. You say, no, I'm not getting married. It's like, seriously, if you don't want to get married, you tell them right up front, I'm never getting married. In my case, it was also, and I'm never having kids. If you don't like that, please go find someone else. You could fall in love. We can have a committed relationship, but there is no marriage. There is no children. You're paying, and you're paying for yourself. My money is my money. Your money is your money. There's none of that horse shit. Why does she want to get married? What is, if you could get everything out of marriage, just hanging out, being together, why does she want to get married? And I don't know what the answer is, but it's probably nothing good. And how much do you like this girl, really? How much do you really like her? She wants to get married in New York State, but you're already in Delaware. What the fuck, man? You already got issues and problems. Rob Fagolski, hey, $5. But Cappy, socialism has been tried, but they did it the wrong way. Yep, they did it the wrong way. They did it the wrong way. So just you, and as I've said before, well, thank God we have states' rights because we can have the American experience. You can experiment with socialism like in New York and California, but the whole country doesn't have to try it. Throw that one at them. All it is, it's just stupid, dumb people want to have free shit. That's it. That's all. It's just lazy, sexist shit who don't want to work. Christoph and on $5. Russia is booming because wealthy Russians can now only invest in Russia. I was listening to an economics podcast. Russia's finances and economy is doing pretty good for a country at war and under sanctions. Vlad Elkum, CPA, $2. Nothing better than having a nurse practitioner girlfriend. Yeah. Yes, I would say so. And then David Love, £5. You fools. If only I was in charge of the communist utopia, then everything would be sunshine and rainbows, the hubris of the left. Here's what's great about the Communist Party or the leftists in general. All of them don't want to work. All of them. That's why they're leftists, Democrats, communists, socialists, Democrats, socialists, labor, in your case, Dave. It doesn't matter. The whole point is they don't want to work. At all costs and expenses, they don't want to work. However, if they're running for office, they definitely want to lead because they have nothing else in life. How many premiers do you need? How many presidents do you need? How many party heads do you need? And this is why communists usually get killed by their own. Because Stalin just wanted to be the leader a little bit more than all the other people. Same thing with Hitler. Hitler bumped off the other socialist party. What was it? Night of the Long Knife? Someone who's a better historian than me could tell. They will kill their ideological brethren because they don't want to work. And if it comes down to Trotsky becoming the premier or Stalin becoming the premier, Stalin will kill Trotsky. So, because there's only enough room at the top, and they will all end up killing each other. And that's why you look out for the right-leaning communists. You know what I'm saying? Just saying, sometimes the people with the mustaches, that might be, so far the correlation kind of, oh, he's got a mustache. It's a little bit different than the others. Keep an eye on that guy. All right, there you go. Well, thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate it. Link below is a very important book for you younger Gen Z types, and it is meant to help. It is also meant to help the millennials. It is not slamming on the millennials. It's called How Not to Become a Millennial. If you're lost and you're pissed off and angry and you're not going anywhere in life, please consider getting that book and reading through it so you're not 42 with student loan debts, hoping Biden gets elected. And maybe this time, they'll get the student loan bailout. Also, link below is a link to my course called The Dad You Never Had. If you were raised by a single mom, if you're raised by a single dad, if your dad was around, if your dad was there, but he was a pussy and didn't tell you, if all you heard was, you should be a good wussy. If you were ever told fighting solves nothing, or if you're just not where you'd like to be in life, yet you followed your parents' advice, please consider taking that course, The Dad You Never Had. And that should be it. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.